we start? Great. Awesome. So thank you all for joining in, and thank you to IMAI for inviting us for this panel. Um, there are multiple side sessions going on. Definitely ours will be the most interesting. So hopefully those who are outside, if they can hear us, please join us because we don't want you to be at boring panels. The far more interesting one is this. I'm quite honored and privileged to be moderating this session amongst a distinguished set of panelists and friends as well who are working in the industry. Would like to welcome, first of all, Srinivasu, who works with POTLAM, which is a quick commerce delivery platform for rural India. Srinivasu, if I'm not wrong. So you cater to audience size of 1 lakh, 2 lakh people. Right. And they deliver in 5 minutes to 10 minutes, so they're faster than Blinkit, I believe, right? So that's fantastic. That's a small plug for you. Kidding. So thanks a lot, Srinivasu, for joining in. We have Prachi Bhuchar, who leads policy for Meesho. Prachi, thanks for joining, and look forward to your thoughts on how Meesho is supporting and leveraging sellers as well as gig workers on the platform. And of course, we have Prashant Kumar, who leads policy for Ola. Prashant, pleasure to be a panelist with you. Yeah, look forward to hearing what Ola is doing in this ecosystem. Of course, Ola and other cab aggregator platforms have a big role to play in leveraging gig workers and also driving and helping growing the gig economy at large. So what I want to do for the next half an hour is have probably 3 rounds of Q&A. I'll try to have 3 rounds, but I also want audience to sort of come in and ask questions. We don't want it to be a dialogue among the 3 of us. We want you all to also ask questions, and I'm sure some of you who are part of the industry would have better questions than I would have. So please feel to come in as and when. But I would like to start with Srinivasu, and the topic of the panel is leveraging flexibility for scaling up businesses. It's quite a complex sounding topic. Let me make it simple. Basically, we want to understand how businesses are leveraging gig workers and gig economy to scale up, to grow, and in turn also support the gig ecosystem. So Srinivasu, I'd like to start with you. And you are a quick commerce delivery, a rapidly fast-growing quick commerce delivery. How has POTLAM leveraged the gig economy to scale its operations countrywide? And what are the steps you're taking to empower the gig workers and enhance their role in the ecosystem?
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm myself Srinivasu, and I am the founder and managing director of POTLAM Retail Concepts Private Limited. It's a company, and we operate the quick commerce for rural India in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. We are currently serving 11 pin codes in AP and Telangana, and our interest is to create a model which is sustainable. Okay, not just with the customer acquisition and spending. By the model, business model itself, it has to sustain how the businesses for 40, 50 years sustained very well, okay, without this VC funding or angel funding or the pumping of money, how these businesses are sustained in India, because culturally we are different from the other geographies. So we started 4.5 years ago. We were the people started the first dark store in India. Okay, when we are saying that, okay, people will think that, okay, is it really true? We started 4.5 years ago. First dark store, first quick commerce delivery, and we deliver in 5 to 10 minutes of the Serenity. So we have 2.2 lakhs of users, okay, who are consuming our regular supplies and the quick delivery benefits. So now the session is on the how the gig working model and the gig economy is actually helping. That flexibility of using the gig economy or gig working is actually helping the scaling of the business. The question is, we did an extensive research in 2019 itself, before the pandemic, by looking at the major top 2 players of Swiggy and Zomato, how the gig workers are actually being treated, and what would be maybe the downfall of that particular business model, what they are actually doing. And we have actually forecasted in how many years this model is completely going to change. Me and my team, during the research, we thought that, okay, in next 5 to 6 years of time, the major players like Zomato and Swiggy that time will have a tough competition with the groceries delivery. At the time, there was no groceries delivery in existence. Groceries delivery in quick commerce, I'd say. Groceries delivery was there from Flipkart and Amazon, but not in the quick commerce model, how we are actually experiencing post-pandemic. With that, actually, research, we identified that, okay, some players will come and hit the same set of gig workers what the Zomato and Swiggy are having currently. This will actually impact on their delivery ecosystem, what they are having currently. With that, actually, we thought of creating one ecosystem, okay, in 2019 itself, and we started working on it, and the ecosystem with the technology and also the gig workers, and also how we can actually give the freedom of actually earning, the freedom of if a gig worker is actually doing a 9 to 6 job, okay, he must be earning some 10,000 to 15,000 as a revenue. We are actually got into this business to tell the gig workers community that, okay, you can get 40 to 50,000 per month in rural India. How it is possible to make? How it is possible to do it? So with that ideology of making use of these gig workers and paying them at a higher price, higher income, that will help us in sustaining this business for a longer period. During that time, food delivery is separately treated, and we were actually started our business with food delivery and the groceries delivery in quick commerce model. With this combination, we were able to give, in rural India, we actually cater to locations like 1 lakh to 2 lakh population. In that, we maintain 40 to 50 delivery partners in an active mode. These 40 to 50 delivery partners, they should definitely get 1,500 to 2,000 rupees in their hand, but at the end of the day. That is nothing but per a month, they should be getting 40 to 50,000 in their hand. In order to get that, if we are focusing only on the food delivery, we will not be able to give that revenue to the gig worker or the delivery partner. We have added groceries, and these two things help them in getting that 45 to 50,000 rupees of income on monthly basis. That helped us in ensuring that delivery partners are completely available. That is nothing but the 5 minutes or 10 minutes quick commerce delivery will happen if you have the fleet with you. The fleet is actually the gig workers community, and we have to give that liberty of earning a good money when they compare to the other roles which they can play. So that helped us in scaling our business into a very good level. It is in 4.5 years age company. We are able to do the GMV from the 11 pin codes of GMV is close to 25 crores. We are able to do that. And this is helped us in scaling up this business to this level. The gig workers, how we are actually leveraging them by paying a full level of earning. So that's the scaling we did with that advantage, sir.
Thank you, Srinivasu. So you basically have a system which incentivizes them to work for you, and these are gig workers who work only for your platform?
Yes, only for
I believe so. Okay. And they're able to, of course, make enough money to make ends meet, and also, are available. So whenever you want to deploy the fleet at particular time periods, if there's an increase in demand, you're able to do leverage for the scaling up. That's fantastic. Exactly what I want to understand. Prachi, I want to come to you on Meesho's platform, and I think Meesho is one of the largest platforms to empower sellers, especially in rural heartland, right? So talk a little bit in terms of what are the activities or operations, in terms of what Meesho is doing to empower these sellers as well as gig workers to help you scale.
Right. So I think that, like you said, we have about 400,000 active sellers on the platform, and most of them come from, like I said, the small sellers. So you'll find unbranded. I'd say about 80% of the selection that you find on Meesho is unbranded. So As far as gig workers go, I'll talk about that piece first. Meesho's always believed in being a very asset-light company. And so till about 6 months ago, or I'd say about 6 to 7 months ago, we didn't have any gig workers. And when I say that, I mean that we were working through third-party logistic providers. And so they, in turn, had gig workers who were working for them. But we weren't, unlike an Amazon or a Flipkart, we weren't doing the deliveries on our own. We have a very clear-cut vision and mission, which is to democratize internet commerce. The whole idea is that everyone should have access to what's available online, whether it's at a high price point or a low price point. So keeping that in mind, we launched something called VALMO, which is actually stands for Value Movement for our logistics sector. This was launched about 6-8 months ago. And VALMO is where we're actually leveraging the gig economy, because what we're doing is that we're again using the whole vision and mission of saying, let's democratize logistics. So for example, if there is I place an order in Delhi, there's a seller who's sitting in Agartala. Usually, the way it typically works is that you'll have one courier who'll pick it up and your product is kind of shipped and it comes to you in Delhi. What we've done through Valmo is that we've actually opened it up literally like a bidding platform for logistics. So if you decide that you want to do just the first mile, you can do just the first mile. It could be a very local player. Somebody else can do the mid-mile and the last mile can be done by someone else. So what's happened with this is that it's really kind of enabled local players to get access to a national network. So in that way, we've been able to leverage that gig economy using those people who are really small, I would say, service providers or logistic providers, to actually come onto a national platform. And I think that with that, what's also happened is that as a result of that, we find that there's a better efficiency in delivery. And so as a result, I think the whole process has become far more seamless.
Right. Fantastic initiatives, Prachi. Thanks a lot for that. Prashant, want to come to you. We all know Ola has been a market leader in mobility-related services, and of course, one of the key contributors to the development of the gig economy in the first place. So basically, my question lies in my observation that, what are the initiatives, and in general, how have you seen Ola, helping the growth of gig economy, and how important are these players when it comes to your own scalability and growth?
Sure, thanks for that. No, I think you've answered the question in the observation in itself, right? That Ola grew to the market leader position above, say, Uber and others in India in a short period of time because of the gig economy. And because the attraction of the gig economy, especially in tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 places where transport services didn't exist, right? Where these sort of, the jobs between traditional employer-employee versus unorganized, there was nothing in between. And a lot of people were either choosing farm jobs versus going to the city for that. And they got an option for that, and that's how it grew. Our 65% market share when we had it, and we've been in, we still have it, and we have operations in a lot more tier 2 cities than most of the aggregators, is because of the gig economy workers. And gig economy, at the end of the day, is the backbone of our operations, of our business. And based on the flexibility, based on the power of the economy, we've been able to expand that from mobility to now to food delivery services. We're the largest player on ONDC, I believe. We've got logistics, we've got bike taxi operations, and that will continue to grow as and more things come up. So from that perspective, the gig economy is massive, and that's in a nutshell that would really answer that.
So I want to just move to a little bit on cost optimization, Srinivasu, and specifically if we look at the conventional employment models versus the gig economy, model. How has the gig economy model helped you to optimize your cost? So if you could just sort of spend a little bit time on that.
It's a very nice question, because we had actually benefited on a major cost saving of something which is the CRM model, which we are actually actively operating in our business on day to day. Apart from the delivery fleet, okay, we maintain the customer relationship managers also in gig working model. So earlier in the initial first year, first 2 years of our business, we used to deploy people into our roles, and we used to pay them on a salary mode, okay, not like a gig working model, the traditional model actually. So we used to have per call cost is actually not viable to the business what we are operating in the rural part of India. So we came up with a solution. We have, with the experience what we are actually having throughout 15 plus years in IT, we had utilized the advantage, and we have developed a program especially tailored which is suitable for the rural part of India. And we have created a CRM application that actually helped our customers in paying less and getting more on day-to-day business. So as an example, so if we are deploying a full-time employee in rural part of India, you might need to pay 15 to 20,000 rupees as a salary, and the other cost, it will come to 22,000. Okay, it's like you are actually incurring 1,000 rupees cost, and that person is able to maybe create or support the orders, maybe support few set of customers, which is actually adding 50 to 100 rupees of additional cost if he is an employee of our organization. If it is in gig working model, okay, our CRM cost to that particular one user and generating that order, we are just around 10 to 11 rupees. Okay, that is actually helping our customer, not for the saving of our cost. That when it is helping our customer, we are able to generate more business from the same CRM utilization. We are able to generate the higher value orders. That is actually helping to bring that 11 rupees also further down to 6 rupees or 7 rupees at a point of time. So when we are using this gig working platform for these kind of CRM roles also, there are CRMs who are actually working from home. Okay, there are homemakers who are actually available. Yeah, okay, customer relationship managers actually. So we deploy for 500 to 600 customers, a dedicated relationship manager is assigned. That manager will be talking to customers on daily basis. Why they are talking is, if you are representing the urban population, okay, you don't understand why they are talking, why do they need to talk, okay. But the rural part of India, our customers are not that smart. 50% of our users are actually, they wanted to call our customer care center and create an order rather than taking the phone and create an order in app. So when customer is interested, be a Roman when you are in Rome, you are in rural India, you are actually solving the problem of delivering something to the rural customer. You have to definitely enable the speaking possibility, and with that we have enabled, and the CRM will get the call, CRM will get the WhatsApp message. That CRM will help our ecosystem to get an order from the customer who is actually ignored one by all these massive players in India who are not smart. Okay, they are not in a position to come to the ecosystem because they are not smart. They are not ordering in the smart like mobility used tech platforms. But we are able to generate business from them also. I have one example which I wanted to quote, and I quote in many of my discussions. We have one daily worker who works on the cable laying work on the roads actually. He is also in need of biryani. Okay, but in India it is not possible for him to get that biryani delivered by a delivery partner. But the same biryani, if I want, I can get it using smartphone. I can get it at free of cost delivery from any restaurant because I am a smart user in the existing ecosystem. But we were able to, using that gig working customer relationship management model, we are able to get the order from that person also. He is also contributing to the economy. He is also eating biryani. That is also actually coming to the economy. We actually enable that, and with that, using a small phone, okay, which is a keypad phone, that particular customer also calls to our customer care and says that I want a biryani. He doesn't know what kind of biryani also. But he makes an order. He'll utilize the advantage of the platform which we are operating since 4.5 years. He get the biryani that is actually helping us to get business from that customer as well. When we are operating in rural part of India, 50% of the business come from the non-smart order mechanism actually. That 50% business, if we are not using the gig working model of customer relationship managers, if we are not using that, we will not be able to crack that 50%. The other players, the Indian top 2 players who are actually into food delivery and quick commerce delivery, they are actually cracking the business only through the technology. Whoever are actually using the technology, they'll be able to get the benefit of the companies what they are doing. But we were able to try something in the rural part of India. That is the reason you will not see these players coming very quickly to the rural part of India and serving the same set of service what is actually offered in the urban part of India. So that model we have cracked using the gig working possibility of paying good amount to the gig worker and paying good amount to the customer relationship manager also in gig working model. That is actually helping up, us in optimizing the cost and scaling up our business into next level.
Yeah, very well answered. And so basically you have CRM, basically managers who get maybe some sort of an incentive to add customers, right? And then they get a share or whatever that arrangement is. So you've basically not just the lower tier of your staff or your people who work for you, even the mid-manage or the lower to mid-managerial level who are managing the customers are at the gig model. Does it apply to the senior management as well? Or?
No, actually, so we are actually initially when we have operated, gig working is only restricted to the delivery partners initially. The business actually asked us to take it to the further level, and then we brought it at to a level that customer relationship managers also can be a gig worker. In future, if the business says that I can be a gig worker, I'm actually interested to do that. The possibility for the gig worker from the gig worker side is he can earn as per his comfort and as per his wish. There are gig workers in our delivery fleet. They say that I have my sister's marriage next month. Okay, I need some 20 to 30,000 more. They come to our food delivery manager and say that in Telugu local language, Anna, give me more business this month so that I'll fulfill that requirement what I have next month.
Say that to the CRM.
We have for the food delivery and the groceries delivery, we have delivery managers, not the relationship managers actually. So there is another layer. So these delivery managers actually, no, they are our employees. Okay, they have certain list of activities what they need to do, and they come to us and they say that okay, I want to earn more for this month so that I have some fulfillment which I have to do next month. So this is actually for the gig worker, it can be enabled. It's not just cost saving to the company. For the gig worker also, you can fly to whatever the level is possible for you. Company is ready to pay and the customer is ready to pay for you. So that sort of thing addressed in the gig working model, and the OGs of that gig working is Ola that so Prashant earlier explained, right? So initially they have actually enabled this particular thing. Okay, if a cab owner, he wanted to drive by his own, and if he want to work for maybe 18 hours a day, he can pay that entire car loan in just 2 months. They have enabled that, and that is actually helped us in creating something in all other areas what actually we are using in our day-to-day operations. To answer your question, yes, the further levels also can be a gig working model if actually business asks us to do that maybe in the next near future. That's my answer.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, feel free.
I just wanted to add to this. Look, gig demand today, gig service demand, all of us are ordering on Zomato, et cetera, doesn't exist without the gig economy. The reason why Zomato, Swiggy, Uber, Ola, anyone has been able to scale to the level they've been able to scale at is because the gig economy is present. Now, just think about it for a second. As an operator, right? Let's say I do 1 lakh rides a day, and that's a very conservative number that I'm giving. Let's say 100. Let's say 1 lakh we do 1 lakh rides a day. Now, if the reason why that's possible is because I have people all over the city who can respond to calls. Right? If I have, say, one driver does 4 rides a day, that becomes 25,000 per. 25,000 drivers who can do these 1 lakh rides. Now, there are 25,000 people in a company. I would be the largest, one of the largest companies in the country, if that was the case. It just wouldn't be it'd be unsustainable. And which is why and that allows that cost optimization
Saying
as well.
the model is required, the way it works, it's necessary for the model to be successful.
Completely necessary for it. And that's what generates demand, and that's what generates innovation, right? The fact that we have quick delivery now, the 10-minute delivery, 5-minute delivery, is because there is someone to deliver it, right?
Right.
Previously, if you look at the UK right now, even today, I order groceries in the UK, it takes me 2 days for the groceries to come to me. Mm-hmm. It doesn't exist. Yeah. Here, I can order my entire household product from POTLAM or from Blinkit or from Instamart, and it's with me for 10 minutes. Yeah. That's because of the prevalence of the gig economy. So, yeah.
Prachi, what's your take on this?
No, completely aligned with both of them. And like I said, because we're not into quick commerce. In fact, Meesho is slow commerce. You can go to Amazon and you can order something on Prime. We don't have that facility because our users are very value conscious, and they're very clear that they don't want to spend that extra money. They're okay to wait 3 extra days to get their stuff. But I think that one of the facets of the gig economy which is fascinating is that it's all about motivation. So ultimately, it's like you hold the key to your success and you decide if you want to kind of scale up. I'm talking about the gig worker scaling up, not the business.
Right.
So if the gig worker chooses to scale up, the business scales up. If the gig worker decides that, and I think that's where the whole discussion, and I think Prashant and I were talking about this earlier as well, that the government is also now playing a very active role in trying to ensure that there is some amount of social welfare for these gig workers. They say, see, these are the people who are doing the work for you, helping you all scale your businesses. You need to ensure that there's some amount of social security for them. So there is a mechanism being put in place to kind of ensure that they have a strong kind of backing, whether it's on the healthcare or the insurance side, etc. But I'd say that it's not without challenges. I think there are many challenges that come with the gig ecosystem, especially in a country like India where everything is about jugaad. So you'll have a lot of people who kind of misuse the system as well. But I think those are few and far between. And I think if you look at it more holistically, I think that what they've done for the economy and for businesses far kind of outweighs the rest. So for Meesho, like I said, the gig part maybe not so prevalent at this point in time, but I can see it growing because as we expand into more and more stuff ourselves, we'll definitely be leveraging the gig economy as well.
Right. Prashant, I want to go back to you and just want to understand in terms of the unpredictability of demand when it comes to ride-hailing apps. How do you leverage or help in, how gig economy or gig workers help you in optimization when it comes to meeting the demand and supply?
Look, as I said, that I have drivers all over the city at this point, right? Now, if suddenly there's a peak demand in Connaught Place, I have people who can respond to that demand. If I had it in the old traditional model, I would have to send my fleet to the location to see if there are people there.
What if there is no demand? What are those drivers doing? They just wait.
But the thing is, transportation is essential, right? So I don't see yes, there'll be lower demand at time, but it's not like demand is going to die out. Right? There's not a time when cars just come to standstill or people just don't move. You have to move for economic activity in the country, and in any country. Yeah. So for that reason, we're providing an alternative means to owning your own car, owning your own vehicle, etc. that you can use. So I don't think there's ever that far a lull. But when there is a lull, we have come out with lean pricing systems in the past where we sort of make it even more attractive for people to take up rides on the platform. We're doing more on last mile connectivity. The whole bike taxi operation that we do, the idea is to short distances when people rather than walk, you can do that. So we're trying to provide new ways of revenue generation for the gig workers as much as we can.
I would second that because I know I haven't bought a car because the ride-hailing apps are doing decent enough job. You have multiple options to choose from. So,
which, if you remember, before Uber or Ola, if you had the yellow taxi, how difficult
it was very expensive.
It was difficult. It was expensive because you had to go to a certain point to get one, or call them to whatever. They would charge you for that trip there and back when they were coming empty. If they were coming empty, there was always a thing about I don't want to go at this point. That happens in ours as well.
Yeah.
But but
it does. But at least they are aware. Okay, if they're choosing a ride, they know this is the destination.
They know
most
the destination,
likely.
they know the fare, they know they can figure out, oh, is it going to be convenient for me or not? There's a feature on Uber and there's a feature on Ola, I'm sorry, which is you can press the home button. Right? So if a driver wants to go home, so on his way home, they will give him a ride.
Yeah.
Right? And they won't give him a ride, which is going to take him to the other side of the town.
Yeah.
So you have those kind of features in those innovations, but those come up as time goes.
I don't know how you are doing on time. It's 4 p.m. So if we have time, then I would like to take a couple of questions from the audience, if that's possible. If anybody wants to ask a question, yeah, maybe you can introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Isha. I'm a policy lawyer in Delhi. We've been hearing a lot of discussion around the new code, when it will likely to come, the draft rules, and some of the concerns are, of course, as you had mentioned, the direct impact on scalability and this kind of business model in the first place. So could we get a sense of what the proposals could mean for the evolution of businesses like are represented on stage? Sorry, like are represented on stage?
Who wants to bell the cat here? Prashant? Prachi, maybe?
Yeah, so I think that where we're currently at is that we're caught between the center and the states. So you have your code on social security. So COS has been in the making for a while. It was passed, but it's not yet implemented. At the same time, you have various states. It started off with Rajasthan. Then there were some consultations that took place in Telangana, now Karnataka as well. So of course, everyone wants gig workers. And we saw more prevalence of this just before elections because, obviously at that point in time, the gig worker is a big vote bank for anyone. I think that for most, and I'm just speaking on behalf of industry and what we've been hearing, most people prefer a central law which would be followed by everyone rather than the state laws because the state laws tend to be a little challenging. Also, at least the way that we've seen it in the case of Rajasthan and Karnataka, quite untenable and, burden being placed on companies. So if it becomes difficult to operate and actually the burden of having a gig worker kind of rests with the company, it's not going to help anyone in the long run. So I think that most companies now anyway have a lot of welfare schemes and things in place, which are obviously going to provide those gig workers with the social security. But I think the way that the government is looking at it is cost. Obviously, they want the companies to make, like you do in PF, you make a contribution to the center. Discussions are still on about whether it should be linked to turnover, whether it should actually be linked to per transaction and things like that. Other than that, I think at this point in time, cost is quite clear, but the rest of it is quite murky. So there's still that interplay between center and state, and I think we're waiting to see how that'll turn out.
So on your question, from a gig platform perspective, the code on social security is game changer. It recognizes the gig economy. It formally recognizes the gig economy. So we are very happy about that. We're very happy that there's a central law that is coming in that will take onus on the welfare schemes, which the government should be doing anyway. So they tried Ayushman Bharat, it didn't work for gig workers. They tried other sort of things which did not work, but now they're trying to do something which specifically for gig workers. So that's a big thing. As she said, though, there is a divergence between what the center is doing and what state is doing. Now, if you have, we're happy to support the code on social security, but suddenly if you have 30 states coming out with their own policies, which are on top of the code on social security, that becomes a problem. That becomes a little bit of a challenge, right? How many masters can we serve? Right, at the same time, how many different rules can we apply? If a driver goes from Delhi to Gurgaon, does that change because the policy is different in Haryana versus Delhi? So you have to have an overarching policy for that. Those kind of things need to be worked out. But the recognition that the gig economy is a separate category, that the people are being recognized, is good. It's a good start. I think it can do a lot more. The one example I keep giving to a lot of people is that we keep looking at the dichotomy between 8% formal and 92% informal in the country, right? But that's wrong. It's outdated. There's a whole chunk of the gig economy now which plays on both sides. They're both informal and formal. And nobody's sort of recognizing that in GDP calculations, in economy calculations, in labor calculations, right? So it can do a lot more, but it's a very good first start.
Your point is well made, because even the code separately defines gig and platform. And those questions do get so confused.
Because there isn't any real proper definition, because I think they're still trying to understand what is the gig worker and who qualifies as a gig worker. You have your contract law, so you have a contract worker. And I think, but one of the other things that the government has done is they have what is called the e-Shram portal. So they're trying to basically aggregate everyone under that so that they have a count on gig. At this point in time, it's so unorganized. There's no real count on how many gig workers there are in the country.
But look, even the e-Shram portal is still all unorganized workers.
I know.
It is not categorizing them saying, hey, you've got platform or gig, etc. Platform gig workers have access to credit. They pay taxes. They may not pay, say, direct income tax like the 8%, I don't know, but they do pay taxes on their vehicles. They pay taxes on tolls. They pay taxes on fuel. They pay taxes on maintenance, GST, etc., etc. So they have to be considered, a part of them has to be considered in that formal economy. But at the same time, they don't have some of the protections, some of the benefits, some of the things that regular employees have, paid leave, maternity, this and that, which thankfully the government is now thinking of doing. The onus of distributing it is on them, which is good. Helping them get to that stage is on us and on the rest of that, but that's a natural sort of progression of the industry, and that we welcome that anyway.
Fantastic. We can take one more question, yeah?
Are there any questions?
Hi, I'm Pranay, and my questions is for Mr. Srinivasan. It's a great job, by the way, entering rural India in today's time. A lot of others, even on the panel next to you, have been facing the same challenge. It's not been easy. And what POTLAM is ensuring in its own capacity is commendable. My question to you is very specific. As you said, when in Rome, be like Romans. And you spent 4.5 years in Rome with the rural population, as you yourself stated that. About 50% of the orders that you are receiving at the moment are through the customer relationship manager, which yet again is a very commendable job that you've done, turned that as well into a gig employment. Very, very nice, commendable. So my question to you is was it always 50-50, or has there been an increment or a decrease in this number? So I would just like you to expand on this particular aspect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for your words. So the answer to your question is, initially when we started this offline orders are allowed in our ecosystem, we were at 72% orders used to come from the non-technology platforms. Like they used to call, they used to send WhatsApp message. App-driven orders are very less during that time, but we were never like surprised, or we were never scared about how a tech platform can capture the business from these people. From that number to, we are now able to bring it down to 50%. What we do is like our CRM is also interested to convert that particular user to order using mobile app only if there is a possibility. By giving some incentive, which actually we promote the customers to directly order rather than approaching CRMs. If there is a possibility, customer can do that. For that, actually, we will give them additional incentive of 1%, 1.5% of additional discount. That is actually helping the possible convertible customer from non-smart to smart. It is actually happening. So now it is 50%. There are two reasons, what reasons actually contributed to reduce this number. It is like evolution of the smartphone usage. The second one is encouraging the users to use the smart ecosystem to get more benefits and get offers. If a CRM is ordering on behalf of you, CRM will order the pricey biryani for you. Instead of ordering a 250 rupees biryani, CRM will order 400 rupees biryani for you, because CRM need to get more business. Because CRM is end of the day is a gig worker. So we encourage our customers to choose what is that you want. If you are having the ability of choosing in the platform, you directly go and order in the mobile app. That is where the evolution of the smartphone usage is one thing, and the second thing is like we encourage that number to go down. That will actually help us to optimize the cost, and also adding new customer base to the CRM will help that more customer base to our entire ecosystem. That's the actually solution we actually implemented. So hope I have answered your question. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Any more questions do we have? Any observations, questions? I think we are good. And I think we're just past 10 minutes past time. So thank you.